Okay, if you have a fourth line in your human design profile, it can be sometimes really hard to connect. It's funny with these profile lines in different parts of your human design. It can be like, oh, this is how you are. And when you read it, you're like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? For me, I was new to this and I saw my fourth line was all about relationship building and community. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Because for me, it's always felt like I've always come to the party just a little too late, or the spot's already taken, or things like that. But the more that I'm using EFT and different, I'm letting my business be medicine and I'm letting it rewire me and I'm letting the human design experiment take place. I can see that that is what lights me up, and turning my business into this component, having these components in place, they are fueling me and energizing me and keeping me, alive and pouring into my cup instead of, some of these marketing techniques when they're not in line with our human design make us feel depleted or burnout or worn out. So, and then people always say with your fourth line, opportunities are going to come in through people. So conversations and friendships and knowing somebody. But like I said, that can be a really tender spot for you. And especially if you've poured into communities and they don't really pour back, or people disappear, or for me, it sometimes feels like a pressure to not disappoint people. And then there's all this scanning, and that can especially come if your G is also undefined. Ha, that's me. Am I even in the right room? Where are my people? Like, do I even have people? Sometimes it doesn't even feel, like I said, when you have that fourth line, you're like, are you sure? Because this is not something that's easy. I just want to reiterate that today isn't about forcing yourself to network more. We're basically becoming available for connection again. So like letting the people who are already here, letting them surprise you. Letting just one conversation matter without needing to know where it leads to, or letting your relationship be something you receive from and not another thing that has to be you working. So we're going to start with the karate chop. Even though connection has disappointed me before, I deeply honor the part of me that learned to be careful. And even though part of me keeps looking beyond what's already here, wondering if there's better connections, where those are, I choose to become curious about what may already be growing around me. And even though letting people matter means that they could disappoint me or I could disappoint them, I'm open to connection without abandoning myself inside of it. And then to the eyebrow. I know what it's like to want connection. And I know what it's like to be disappointed by it. To show up, to care, to pour into people, and wonder if anyone is ever going to pour back. And honestly, there's definitely an ache there. And there's a chance that I've carried that longer than I realized. So maybe that meant that I learned to hold back some. I can be friendly and I can support everyone else. I can hold space. But receiving from connection, that feels a little different. Trusting someone enough to lean in feels a little different. And maybe some part of me is still waiting to be disappointed. So I keep an eye on the door and I don't let myself relax. Maybe there's something better out there. This one loops for me again and again in all kinds of ways. Maybe there's a better community or a better niche. Maybe there's better connections. Maybe there's someone who can actually open the right door for me. Maybe what's here already isn't enough. Maybe I need something bigger or better. Maybe I haven't met my people yet. Maybe I have to go out and keep looking for new people. I haven't found them yet. And while I'm looking around for what's next, I wonder what I'm overlooking right here. If I've been hurt in community before, I've had relationships that didn't become what I'd hoped. I had big, exciting plans and high hopes. but people left or people disappointed me. I felt overlooked and not chosen. It felt like I cared more than they did. And I've also watched connections fade. And there's a chance that a part of me kept the receipts for that. And then those loops come in. See, this is what happens when you trust people. So it makes sense that I learned to protect myself from this. I can feel deep inside that connection definitely matters to me. So disconnection definitely hurts. And there's nothing wrong with me for remembering that. It makes sense that my body remembered that and stored that information. I am not wanting to force myself open. I can absolutely honor what happened and how it happened without asking the past to predict everyone I haven't met yet or dictate my business for me. Wait. Are those old relationships actually evidence about this one? Does one community get to speak for every community? And does one disappointment get to decide what's possible now for me? Or dictate me not experimenting with this choice I have? Maybe I've been using old evidence to predict new relationships. Maybe I've been protecting myself from something that isn't actually happening. And maybe this connection gets to be its own connection, separate from everything I've felt or had before. So what if I don't need more people right now? What if I become curious about who's already here? Who's in my network? Who's showing up and showing me already that they're here? Who feels easy to talk to? Who has kind eyes? Who do I genuinely enjoy connecting with? And where do I already feel warmth? And where is something quietly being reciprocated? And what if I notice that? I feel like I know how to be there for people. And there's a chance in this moment I'm learning how to let people be there for me. I know how to make connections. Maybe I'm learning to receive them. I don't have to turn every relationship into an opportunity. And I don't have to know what this connection will become. I can make it simple and just let this one connection in this moment matter. And I can let myself be nourished by who's here right now. So maybe my gift isn't having the biggest network. Maybe it's what happens when I genuinely connect. The conversation that leads somewhere unexpected makes me feel lit up and excited. The introduction that I couldn't have planned just happened organically. The person who remembers me 6 months later. The relationship that slowly becomes something more. I don't have to force any of that, and I don't want to. So that means that I can tend what feels alive. I don't need to keep looking over everyone's shoulder. I can just be here in the present moment with these people who are here with me in this present moment, in this conversation. I can let connection surprise me again. And I can let myself receive from relationship. In this moment, I'm deciding that I'm available for what wants to blossom here. And so I connect. Take a deep breath, letting it in and out, slow. Notice what hooked you in there, what felt like, ooh, yeah, that's true, that was it. Notice if that you got that feeling, this is something that you're going to want to come back and tap on. Maybe often, maybe a time or two more. It makes me think of when it's fall and the leaves fall on the ground and you rake them up and you look and there's leaves again. It's not like, it's my fault, or, it's so dumb. It's just like, I just need to rake again. So let's think about the people currently in your field. So we're not talking about, this audience that you wish you had, or this other community that was disappointing. Who's actually here for you? See if a name comes to mind, or maybe there's several names, or maybe there's people in your comments, or people who you love talking to. We don't have to make anything happen with any of them. It's not the point. We just want to notice that life is here. There is life here. There's relationship here and connection. And your job isn't to squeeze something out of it, but your job is to be present enough to experience it genuinely and fully, and to tend that relationship and let yourself get joy from it. Let yourself receive that joy and receive that excitement from that connection. And then just let today's connection be today's connection. We're not trying to ask it to prove anything about us. We already know inherently that we're worthy. And then let's remember that the past doesn't dictate what's going to blossom here in this moment. Anything can happen today, especially when you have this strength. The future doesn't need to pull you away from what's already in front of you. This breath, this conversation, this connection. And let's just notice what connection, and let's notice whether anyone came to your mind. Notice what happens when you think about connection as something that can nourish you rather than something you need to build or manage or turn into something. So just notice what's already there, what's already around you. That fourth line doesn't need you to frantically collect people. It's just inviting you to let relationships matter. Some connections will last and some won't. Some might quietly change the course of your business and your life in ways you couldn't have planned. That's how and where we choose to relax and let the magic come in.